remind me what your game is? Vernal Edge. That name sounds familiar.
Sure. Vernal Edge is a Metroidvania with combat in it that's inspired by Devil May Cry and Kingdom Hearts
Wait,
2.
hold on. I think I remember now. Yeah, I remember seeing some of your awesome just before. Yeah, that stuff looked amazing.
Yeah, the combo
Yeah, there
game.
we go. Combo game.
I just want to play the game just to do combos. That's it. I don't even care about the story. I mean, it's like it could be good, but it's like I just want to do combos. That's it.
So prior to the Kickstarter, when I was still doing other work, I started it by myself in August of 2018. And it was a sort of just a thing I did on occasion. And I had a second teammate join July of 2019. And then we sort of went, full steam up until 2020 when we had the Kickstarter campaign in May. Vernal Edge was initially funded by a Kickstarter campaign. That Kickstarter campaign, we worked for about a year and a half on the game prior on our own income before having something we were ready to share. And then about, I'd say 6 months after that crowdfunding campaign ended, we were picked up by a publisher who we're going to keep private until the near future. And that's given us, honestly, a lot more to work with than the crowdfunding campaign, like in terms of resources as well as just raw money. We were to hire on 2 additional staff members as a result. They do good QA. They have people to hook us up with.
Nice.
We're working on a Game Maker game, so we were able to get hooked up with some people good at porting Game Maker games to consoles instead of having to learn it on our own. It allows us to keep our focus on production. I know I'd promised less in-game rewards. I love our backers for NPCs and bosses, but there's been occasions where we felt like, oh boy, we already got a whole bunch of stuff to do, or like we have to talk to people about seeing if we can make the thing that they want a better fit. Especially, Vernal Edge has a lot of narrative elements. It's got a lot of narrative elements. It's got like a big story, a whole bunch of places to explore. So always finding like good places to put backer content is difficult, and probably in another game we would not put that on the table, or not to the same extent. Backer levels ended up being probably the most fun and interesting thing to put in the game, but backer NPCs tended to be a bit more of a case of like, well, this backer wants their character to do this, we're not sure if we can do that, we're not sure if there's a place for that, or oh god, everyone wants to do this, only one of them can. I found that usually they were only really hands-on about 1 or 2 aspects of it. One was very interested in the design. One was very interested in that it had a certain aesthetic to it, that it had this sort of pyramid filled with traps theme. One of them just wanted some visual elements to pop up, and they didn't care about anything else. So overall, those were areas where we got to still work on the stuff we wanted to work on, just under some minor constraints. With a couple of them, we had ideas for levels in the game already, where we were able to warp those ideas to match what they were requesting, and it made everyone happy.
Nice.
That's really interesting, because I would imagine the level design to be more troublesome than an NPC design. But when you think about it, the level design is super abstract, so you could sort of just, piece it together to fit your own design. But yeah, when it comes to other rewards that sort of stray away from the main vision of the game, then it becomes kind of tricky, right?
Yeah, like bosses,
Yeah,
I think we had backer bosses, and those all
shoot.
ended up pretty good. But then we have to ask, where's this character fit in the story?
Right.
We have to make sure they want their boss to play like this, and we don't want to put 2 bosses that play like that back to back. We want to space it out. There's more considerations to make. Publishing. I've got stuff I can talk about. We don't want to divulge our publisher identity until an official reveal.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
Keep your eyes peeled, guys.
That's
It's
really
been-
exciting.
It's been a long time coming, I suppose. So honestly, the Kickstarter comes with non-flexible obligations. The most you can ever look at something you promise in the Kickstarter and say, I don't know if I can do that, is say, like, maybe we're going to have to put that in post-release because there's no time to do it on our current time frame. Backer content can't really even get that treatment. If you have a time frame, you better squeeze that content in the game. As well as, at least in my circumstance, it takes a while to post Kickstarter updates. They just take time to put together all the images, text, talk with the team about, etc. You're gonna take like a day and a half of dev time away.
So yeah, it's like a blessing and a curse having like super fans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a problem you'd like to have. It just got to be managed.
I think that in general, if you have multiple people on your project, it's definitely good to have multiple people capable of writing and keeping people up to date and doing all your social media stuff. Because when it's just one person, you're basically asking one person to do two jobs. Admittedly, it's also becomes increasingly difficult to make updates the further you get in development. Like I said, we're pretty far in. You can expect to see Vernal Edge early next year. But it becomes increasingly hard for us to post things because we're just sort of running dry on stuff that isn't a spoiler
Yeah.
or
And
that we
everything-
don't want to save for a bigger marketing piece.
Right. So it becomes like you're saving all these small secrets or like things related to the game, but you're
Yeah, it's
also
like,
trying to share.
Here's this little harmless tidbit right here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's tricky. Oh shoot. I hope the
It's
backers
a
aren't
weird
too
game.
angry.
I mean, you'll always get people who feel obligated to have certain things go their way, and you just ignore them.
Yeah. I hope
Yeah.
they
I mean,
understand.
you ignore people who are jerks, but you also should do your own like sort of mental management of saying like, okay, this has been a fair amount of time, this is a fair update. But that's, I guess the psychology is if you put up a bunch of early milestones, people will think you're over ambitious or greedy.
Mm-hmm.
So we toned them down a bit and only had like 2 up at a time. And we only really made 2 of them, which were a harder difficulty and a speed up option for the game, like Devil May Cry includes.
For example.
So in terms of funding, I'd probably do the exact same thing.
Mm.
I'd probably combo crowdfunding into publishing again, because publishing opens up a lot of doors and it opens up a lot of flexibility. Because if something it goes a little off track or it goes a little expected, the publisher has more money. You just need to convince them that like the little mistakes or whatnot are worth another month or 2 of paychecks.
I see.
But when you're completely on your own, a mistake like that is like we have to change everything. We have to, and with Kickstarter being so inflexible, that might be difficult. It might be like, sorry, this feature we wanted to put in that you guys paid for, we can't do. But Kickstarter itself provides you with a lot of agency when you go to approach a publisher. You get to tell them you have an investment already put in the game that you've done. You get to prove that you have an audience interested in the game and that it's marketable because you've done it without their considerable resources. In terms of if I would do the same thing next time, I think I would end up working on a similar game if I didn't have too many options. I mean, we're all creative people and we all want to do a billion things.
Yeah.
I definitely want to start branching into 3D work. If possible after this, because there's a lot of 3D games I want to make, and I think as an indie, it's starting to get to the point where people buying games are more interested in 3D games as time goes on.
Like the low poly style.
Yeah, the low poly.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Pixel rules. Don't say it.
It's a forbidden word.
Pixel art does rule. I mean, you're never gonna get me to say otherwise.
But yeah, I get you though. I mean, I definitely love seeing, especially the retro 3D style that's starting to really come out. I'm loving that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend who's interested in doing an N64 style project when this is done.
It's just it just looks so good.
Yeah. The N64 is kind of fun compared to the PlayStation style, which everyone's going for now.
Do you guys have any like final thoughts or advice for anyone who wants to start out with just funding a project?
Be very good at something. Definitely push yourself, I think, in your own skill set to be competitive at something you do. Like, be a really good like action designer, be a really good animator, or just be a really good musician. But definitely have something like competitive to bring to the table about your skill set, because that's going to shine when you start to market. So I'd say that if you just kind of have been wanting to get going, I think it's important that you take the time to refine your skills a little bit and make sure that you're like really awesome going into it.
So yeah, I think that about covers our talk, and you guys covered some amazing points, and I learned a ton, and yeah, it was just great. Not only talking with you guys, but just
really enjoyed that.
meeting you guys as well. So thank you for sharing.
Better mic.
So yeah, thank you for sharing your insights, and yeah, hope we can do it again sometime in the future. But until then,
this was fun.
Yeah, catch you guys on the next one.
Have a good night, everyone.
Good morning, good night.
See ya.
Peace.
See you guys.
Good night, Sidin.